There was just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Hello and welcome to Cancelled, the podcast that looks at silly celebrity crimes and assigns charges and sentences to them so we can all move on with our lives. I'm Claire Stevens.
And I'm Jessie Stevens.
And Jessie, in a weird turn of events, we seem to now be starting the podcast with lazy gear stories from our listeners. Yes. They have submitted them and they're too funny to not consistently share. Today you are bringing one.
I'm bringing a few.
Okay.
I must say that on my way into this record, what do I need before I start recording, Claire?
Oh, a Pepsi Max.
Yes. But I am, of course, pregnant.
Okay.
I can't be waddling up and down the street looking for a Pepsi Max in a huff. So I assigned that job to my partner.
Okay.
And he delivered it. Classic lazy girl behaviour.
He did deliver it to the studio.
He did. And I was sitting here waiting. We have some other stories from people that I don't think you've seen yet. I've hidden them from you. One of them is her answer didn't fit in the lazy girl box, because we just put a box up.
A question box. No. Some are too detailed for the box. I knew that would happen.
And a few lazy girls said, I'm too lazy to think of one.
And I went, that's why.
That's same. But she said, I drove up to my mailbox coming into my driveway so I didn't have to get out and walk to her mailbox. She's not regional, it's 10 metres. But then when she was driving up to reach the mailbox, she scraped the side of the car and she really regretted that. We also have a lazy girl hack from someone who was in bed and went, I haven't brushed my teeth. We've all been there. All right?
And you go, do I need to?
It's one day. It's one day. And she went, what does one do? So she demanded her husband, again, classic lazy girl behaviour, bring her 2 small glasses, one empty and one with water on it, and also her toothbrush with toothpaste already squeezed on it. At which point she dipped the toothbrush in the water, she brushed her teeth, she spat in the empty glass, used the remaining to rinse without needing to get up.
It feels
Clean
very
teeth.
hospital vibes.
Doesn't it feel we're spending the night in hospital?
Yeah.
Someone's son was given a formal diagnosis of being a lazy boy. And we have heard of this, haven't we? This seems to be a theme, is that we go to – I had this as a kid. Mum thought I had hearing problems and they went, she just doesn't want to listen to you. Okay. He wouldn't drink a full bottle and then he'd stop after a few minutes and have to have the rest through a tube, and they were stressed thinking that something was majorly wrong. They did brain scans, physical examinations, formal meeting with the doctor to discuss it, and they came to the conclusion that he was just being a lazy boy and it was easier to be fed through the tube. So why drink? He's now a chunky, happy boy who loves the bottle.
There's some great lazy girl stories.
There's some great lazy girl stories. Keep them coming. Love the commitment. And then you sat down and wrote something. Go you.
Very anti-lazy girl behaviour.
Yeah.
Today's episode is about Lindsay Lohan. And there are a few lazy girl crimes. This will be a 2-parter. We didn't know that when I say we started researching, when I started researching. But then the lols.
I watched a bit of a movie called I Know Who Killed Me or something.
Yeah. She won 2 Golden Raspberries for that. She tied with herself for worst actress.
She played twins again. Yeah.
Actually impressive.
Never been done before.
The lols kept coming with Lindsay, so we went, needs to be a 2-parter. And this is one of those cancel episodes where there are real crimes we could talk about here, but that is not what this show is about. And as has been stated numerous times, this is not a real courtroom.
No, I think that in 2007, I think she was in court 8 times.
No, I think it was 2011 was maybe her worst in terms of you actually can't wrap your head around how many times she was in court and how much probation.
Did you know that she was sentenced to community service at a morgue?
Oh, yeah.
It's a really weird fact. And then they were like, she's doing really well and the staff are really enjoying it as much as the staff at a morgue can. And I was like, sweet.
Okay, well done, Lindsay. We are in no way qualified to talk about the real crimes, cocaine possession, drink driving, no. We're here for random accents and being rogue on social media. Lindsay Dee Lohan is an actress and singer who started her career as a model at 3. We could not have been models at 3. That is tragic. She appeared in a bunch of TV ads before landing the role of twins Annie and Hallie in The Parent Trap in 1998.
Absolutely iconic film. I think Annie was the British one.
Yeah.
Accent's not good. I know she was 10.
Oh, Mildred, darling. Hi, how are you?
Hey, how's it going over there?
Oh, everything's quite lovely here. We're expecting a bit of rain today. But Mildred, can you hold on for a moment?
But accent is very 10-year-old doing a British accent. I went back and watched some TikToks from it. And I also went back and watched The Evil Stepmother.
Oh, yes.
The 26-year-old who was just trying to get ahead.
The first change I make is to send that two-faced little brat off to boarding school in Timbuktu.
Oof, ice woman.
Proud of it, babe.
The 26-year-old that everyone was like, ugh.
Yuck. She's so mean. I was like, all she wanted to do was marry a rich guy, and these two little shits
Kept putting frogs in her.
actually assaulting her. No wonder Lindsay Lohan was confused about the law. Because there was the one where they put the thing in her water bottle and then they set her out
On the LiLo
on the
thing.
LiLo.
Mm.
And I was like, bitch just wants a rich husband. That's not a crime in this
There
courtroom.
was a lot of violence in that film. I will forever be blown away by the fact that one person can play two characters. So impressive. She went on to star in Life Size, Freaky Friday, again, excellent film, and Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. In 2004, she starred in Mean Girls, which established her as a leading actress in Hollywood.
I'm 16, but until today, I was homeschooled. And then it was goodbye, Africa. And hello, high school.
That is so fetch.
Around the same time, she launched her music career with her debut album, Speak, and the biggest single from the album was Rumours. I'm sick of rumours starting. I'm sick of being followed.
Whatever happened to that song?
It's so, okay, well, I'll tell you what happened to that song. In research for this, I decided to listen to Lindsay Lohan's podcast. Lindsay Lohan has a podcast, you ask? Yeah, she does. And guess what the opening song is? It's her own song, Rumours. And guess who she was interviewing? Her sister, Ali.
Her real sister, not herself.
Yeah. It's not great.
Did you know that Lindsay Lohan is half Italian?
I
Which
didn't.
makes her as much of a person of colour as Ariana Grande.
That's fine.
She is as Italian as Ariana.
So Rumours wasn't very critically acclaimed in that, in a general sense,
Banger.
critics gave the album 2 stars or a D+. However, and this is a recurring theme on Cancelled, where did the album particularly go off? Australia. Every
Shit.
time. Like Michael Bublé, Australians, it's like we're really hungry for anything.
Or we don't have any taste.
No.
So it's, everywhere else says it's really bad. Everyone goes, critically, this is an abomination. And Australia's like, we like the bop. I'm sick of rumours starting. And we're just like in the club dancing to this terrible Lindsay Lohan. That is stuck in my head as much as All Seats Taken by Beck Cartwright.
Oh my gosh. And
Paris Hilton, the stars are
yeah, Stars are blind.
blind.
It just goes down in history. It's a
We should
certified
make
bop.
a cancelled soundtrack called So Fresh.
We should. Lindsay went on to star in movies like Herbie Fully Loaded and Georgia Rule. And Jessie, where do you see the turning point of Lindsay's career? Because for me, I always thought it was
It's
Herbie.
Yeah. I remember you and I looked at each other and we went, why are we working alongside a car? Like it just seemed like a steep downfall from Mean Girls because things were going so well.
Mm.
And then I went, I'm her target demo. I'm not seeing Herbie Fully Loaded.
Watching Herbie. And by Georgia Rule, I went, doesn't matter what you do here.
You're
you
in
already
Herbie.
did Herbie. And that was a
Did
weird
anyone
time.
watch it? Was that not?
Oh, I think it did fine. It wasn't as floppy as her flop era.
It's like, do you remember the show Brum
Said Brom?
on the ABC?
It has from vibes.
It was kind of Brum vibes, but with Lindsay Lohan. And I still don't, I might sit down and watch it because I never gave it a true chance.
Neither. In 2006, she started appearing in the tabloids for her legal issues and being in and out of rehab, and she lost a lot of jobs. In 2014, she filmed Lindsay with Oprah, which in hindsight was really uncomfortable to watch because she is clearly not okay and Oprah is exploiting her. Jessie, I forgot she did The Masked Singer in 2019.
Oh, I
Masked
didn't.
Singer Australia.
It's pretty nutso. Everything has been a whirlwind and so unexpected, but really fun. I've had a lot of fun.
That was a nice time.
That was a low point.
Yes, and then late
But again,
last-
Australia loves Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah,
And
we
we're
were
all
like, oh, you're unemployed. Come on, there's a seat for you just here on this strange
hang on,
show.
are you Lindsay Lohan who sung I'm sick of rumours starting?
Because the interesting thing is it is a musical show. She was there for her musical talent, not her acting skills.
No. And just because she was Lindsay Lohan. And Australia was like, what? Lindsay Lohan wants to be here?
Amazing. Here's $3 million. Late last year, she starred in a terrible Netflix Christmas movie, which I obviously watched and we'll discuss later on. That's a bit of a summary of Lindsay Lohan. Clearly, there's a lot to cover, and my structure for today is as follows. Bad work ethic, baffling Hollywood behaviour, random accents, and feuds with other celebrities. A reminder, this is part 1. There are several more. We have a kidnapping in part 2.
Okay, does the feuds include Hillary Duff?
Obviously.
All right, yep.
Obviously. Okay.
Do you talk, like, when you're setting up your structure, like, are we getting to I Know Who Killed Me movie 2007? Like, because I have some things to bring.
Okay, we'll get there.
Okay.
Make a note and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Bad work ethic. Lindsay was about 20 when it became clear that she was one of the biggest party girls in Hollywood. The problem with the partying, apart from the drugs and the alcohol and the crimes, was that it made it really hard for her to work, to turn up because she was partying. In 2006, while filming Georgia Rule, she was hospitalised, and reps for Lohan said it was due to exhaustion and overheating. But then the CEO of the production company wrote this letter to her that got leaked, and it said, "We are well aware that your ongoing all-night heavy partying is the real reason for your so-called exhaustion. We refuse to accept bogus excuses for your behaviour."
I think it doesn't sound like a bogus excuse.
To that, I will say,
She was
she was exhausted. Partying is tiring.
It's actually really tiring.
She was probably dehydrated too, actually.
Probably didn't get a lot of sleep. And she came to work and she said, "I'm exhausted." "Why are you exhausted?" "Because I'm currently intoxicated and I got an hour's sleep." It's not the why. I'm still tired.
Yeah. It
Like,
doesn't matter why. She didn't claim she was exhausted from working too hard.
No.
It could have been a hot time of year.
I heard that she got very hot during Herbie Fully Loaded because of the costume. And she was
There you
out by a
go.
car all day. I mean, that's unrelated to being drunk.
But she wasn't in great physical health because of the drinking and the drugs.
But you know when you've had too much to drink and then the next day you're like hungover and you're sweating and you're like, that actually stinks like spirits? That's how I feel like she was. I've only had that happen once or so.
When you are hungover and sick,
You do feel hot.
well, yeah, but it's also valid sickness. Like, you can say you did that to yourself.
It's like, yeah, I don't feel any less sick.
Yeah, well, I feel sick and I can't work. So what you can do about that? In 2010, she was sacked from the movie Inferno. She had skipped out on a drink driving hearing and then showed up to court with nails that read, "fuck you," and was sent back to jail. So she didn't get to be in that movie. The director and screenwriter of that film said on his Facebook page, "We stuck by her very patiently for a long time with a lot of love and support. The impossibility of insuring her and other issues have made it impossible for us to go forward." He told CBS, "She missed a day of work without telling anybody, and you can have a whole crew and car standing around, plus the cost of $500,000 a day lost."
That makes me feel sick.
You just know she actually felt guilty.
Well,
Because
when she realised she was meant to be somewhere.
she's gone to sleep. She's
Yeah.
gone out. She's gone to sleep. She's gone, "I'll do a quick 20-minute nap and then I'll do a
Yeah.
full day's work."
Yeah.
And
then
she's
her phone
woken
died.
up at 4 p.m. And the feeling she has got in her gut when she realises she's missed a whole day of work, there's some avoidance going on after that because you're not making a call at 4:01.
No, so you know what you're doing? You're getting a drink.
You're
And
getting a
that's
drink.
where it cycles.
Yeah, you're going, "I feel horrible. I might talk to somebody in a couple of days
Yeah.
and do an apology." In that director's defense, it must be hard to film a movie when the star is in jail. That's something that he probably didn't anticipate. During filming for Lindsay, the docuseries with Oprah got really mad at Lindsay because she kept not showing up.
I believe that you believe that this is your time to turn this around for yourself.
It is.
Okay, if that is the case, then you are not going to up. And I know you're surprised to hear me say
I actually love it.
you're not going to be
It's
doing
awesome.
you're not going to be doing that.
I need to hear that from you because it helps. It empowers me.
Okay, so elephant in the room. Lindsay Lohan by this stage is an addict.
Correct.
Probably alcohol, maybe drugs. She is completely burnt out because she's been working since she was 10. Literally, she was working twice as hard in that she was playing twins, Annie and Hallie, right?
Yes.
And then she went on to just do back-to-back, and she's got rumours and she's got all these careers
There's
going
also
at once.
the stress of she was in several bad movies. That would be really hard on your...
Because bad movies are hard to make too. And then she's trying to finish school. Like, she would have been so, so tired. And I think I read once about the days. She'd have been doing 16-hour days for years of her life. And so she's clearly got addiction issues, and people like Oprah yelling at her
Not
ain't
helpful.
helping.
So Oprah kept being like, it's okay, we can pull the plug, but you won't get your $2 million.
Okay.
And it's like, well, it's so hard because she doesn't want to work, but she wants the $2 million.
Yeah, same.
Which I get. Lindsay then starred in a movie called The Canyons. And in 2013, there was the most amazing detailed story written in the New York Times called Here is What Happens When You Cast Lindsay Lohan in Your Movie. So specific.
Great headline.
Here are some anecdotes. At the first script read, Lindsay's obviously 20 minutes late, which I say absolutely fine.
I was 20 minutes late because I was telling my partner to get me a Pepsi Max.
Yeah. So I say, Lindsay, you can be 20 minutes late. As the director is speaking, everyone notices that she's kind of jotting on her script and they see that she's crossed out people's names and put down a list of possible replacements. Ooh. So it's like me sitting here and being like, cancelled host, Jesse Stevens, no, and then just writing other names.
That's hurtful.
It also wasn't, like, that's not within her remit.
No,
She's
you're not a
just-
producer.
no.
You just read your lines.
She's an actor. She kept disappearing for days on end to the point where the director fired her because he couldn't get onto her. Then she turned up to his hotel banging on the door and crying because she did feel really bad.
This is what's hard. Yes, she's an addict, and I don't think that Oprah interrogating her is good. She also is not a good employee. So at that stage, I feel like it's enter at your own risk. Just don't employ Lindsay Lohan for a while until she gets better.
He thought he could handle her because he had worked with a lot of alcoholics, but he rehires her when she bangs on the door. One day they break for lunch. And Lindsay's like, I want to go outside the set to eat. And they're like, well, this is a problem because you need to be supervised at all times.
Oh, no.
Because otherwise you go missing. So they assign one of the co-producers to drive her, and she's got an entourage. She's always got an entourage. To drive her in an entourage to where she wants to go to get lunch. So they're driving. They stop at the big studio gates to click the code for them to go out. Car stops. Lindsay and her entourage run out of the car.
Oh.
They escape and run to one of the assistants' cars, disappear for several hours, come back after filming has resumed. Lindsay,
your work. And you think with this that, in fact, the person who needs to get in and probably talk to the people who she's working for is her manager, which, of course, is her mother. Who you don't think she's very good at
problematic
either job.
I think, speaking of people you cancel along the way, both of Lindsay.
I was going to say Dina, and to a greater extent, Michael. Yeah, not a bad,
Michael,
not a nice man.
Michael, time and time again. I have to say though, there were all these stories about Lindsay Lohan being chaotic. She spent $600 on sushi when she was on set for this, and it was a really low budget film. And they're like, we don't have that kind of money for sushi. But she didn't understand. But the actor she was starring against, who's an adult film star, has since been accused of rape and assault. And some of the drama was that she didn't feel comfortable shooting alongside him. And she said that a few times, but everyone was like, bloody Lindsay, she's so annoying.
She's being dramatic.
She's being dramatic. She had a bloody point. The man was a literal criminal, and I would say more of a criminal than her, who is also a criminal, but to a lesser extent.
Well said.
It's not every day that we do get an actual criminal in the cancel courtroom.
But sometimes.
So it is fun. But look, Lindsay didn't do a murder that we know of. One time she did have to serve a theft sentence at home, and while under home confinement, she threw parties on her rooftop.
Nowhere does it say you can't.
Genuinely, the parole person was like, that's bad judgment. Nowhere in your parole thing did it say that you can't express bad judgment. So you're actually kind of fine.
Yeah. We throw a party sometimes. That's okay.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And who were the friends turning up being like, you seem like you're doing well. Let's celebrate. But we're not here to talk about the real crimes, unless they are this one. In 2011, Lindsay was refusing to pay a $40,000 bill to the owner of a Las Vegas tanning salon who claimed the actress racked up the charge for services between 2007 and 2009. Talissa and I did the maths.
Mm-hmm.
The average spray tan at that time, and, you know, a little bit high end, let's assume, $50 US.
Well, that's an expensive spray tan, but I respect it. Yeah.
It's an expensive spray tan for 2011. I got one the other day. It cost me $60.
All right, but that's, you know, cost of living.
It's cost of living, but like we're talking more than 10 years ago.
But this is Lindsay Lohan. She's getting top of the range.
Exactly. So you've got to account for all of those things in your equation. $40,000
Yes.
divided by 50, so that's how many spray tans. It's 800 spray tans in 2 years.
Mm.
That's 400 tans a year, which is more
Too many.
It's more than one a day.
So we went to school with what I would call Lindsay Lohan look like.
Okay, yes.
And she had the same colouring, and she too had an addiction to spray tans.
Mm.
And I knew what her routine was. It was obviously the Thursday spray tan. It'd look fab on a Friday, Saturday sun. Start looking a little ordinary on a Monday, and by Wednesday we were getting out the steel wool. Remember that was her thing? She'd get the steel wool to get all, because you had to exfoliate it all off to then do the Thursday. I don't know how we're getting more than one spray tan a week.
That's what I don't
Maybe
understand.
she was paying for her friend's spray tans.
I think there's that. There are also other tanning products she could have purchased from the tanning place.
Yeah, maybe
There's
the
that.
tanning place also did brows.
But maybe she just got tan upon tan upon tan. Maybe she just never exfoliated.
Doing tan upon tan was very of the era.
Building up a thickness.
And that was the first time in all of history one could get a spray tan. It's a very new phenomenon.
Speaking of baffling behaviour, in 2014, a list that Lindsay had written featuring 36 men she'd allegedly slept with was published by the tabloids. It featured a number of high-profile actors and singers, some who have already featured in the cancel courtroom.
Wait, did she send this to the tabloids?
No, so she thinks that what happened was that while she was filming the Oprah show, she was moving house. When she was moving house, they found wine and she wasn't meant to be drinking. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But she was holding this list that she had written in AA. She said it was like the 5th step of AA. Write down all the men you've had sex with. I don't think that's one of the rules. She did it anyway. And she thinks that a pap got it and then zoomed in and then published it.
Right, who's on the list? Not like this, just awful. Who's on the list?
Heath Ledger, James Franco, Adam Levine, Ryan Felipe, Zac Efron, Justin Timberlake, Colin Farrell, Joaquin, Jamie Dornan, Ashton Kutcher, Orlando Bloom. They're the ones that like we would care about the most.
If my list looked like that.
Oh, I would have
I'd
it
be
tattooed to my forehead.
calling the paps. I'd be walking out the front and waving it
Yes.
and going, look at me list. Look at this.
And ask some questions.
And you know what I have? Range. Because I go from Heath Ledger
to Jamie Dornan.
to Zach.
Mm.
What a life.
I have to say, what a legend.
What a legend. She'd have some stories.
She later confirmed the list was real, but that she had never intended for it to go public. On Watch What Happens Live a few years ago, Andy Cohen asked her about it, and she said she believed that it had been snapped when she was moving, and she doubled down that, no, this is real, and that it was quite upsetting for her because it was private.
You know what? I'm going to get serious for a second. I have to do this quickly because I know that we don't have much time. That was actually my 5th step in AA at Betty Ford. And someone, when I was moving during the OWN show, must have taken a photo of it. And so that's a really personal thing.
Wow.
And it's really unfortunate.
Why did you write down a list of all the famous people you'd slept with? But
And then
whatever.
wave it at the paps. But no.
But the controversy is that a few people on the list have denied that they belong
Yeah,
there.
of course they did.
Adam Levine.
Oh.
Yeah, because you don't have sex with everyone. James Franco.
These are bad men.
And awkwardly, Justin Timberlake being on there would mean that he cheated on Jessica Biel, which we love. And we believe. I believe it wholeheartedly.
I mean, they're 3 cancelled men.
I know.
The council courtroom says, yeah, I think that happened. It's very likely.
As we've said before, where there is smoke, there is fire.
Well said.
Jesse, random accents. While Lindsay Lohan was born in New York City and raised on Long Island, spending a huge amount of her formative years in either New York, America, or LA, also America.
But she is, as we said, she is as Italian as Ariana
As
Grande is
Ariana
Italian.
Grande.
She's more Italian than Ilaria is Spanish.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Correct.
Escándalo.
In 2016, fans began to notice she had picked up a bit of an accent. So I'm going to play you a couple of clips. Jessie, for context, this is what Lindsay Lohan sounded like in 2014.
And that, I feel different ever since that. Just being okay with, you know, the wreckage of my past and letting that go and starting fresh.
Can you hear that she's kind of husky and very American?
And she sounds like she did in Mean Girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is her 2 years later.
Mother became a very close person to me, and his sister as well, and his father. And Aguilos, another partner of ours, and my friend Manos have really incorporated. This is just me holding it with me walking, going. Whereas the paparazzi maybe across the street, I didn't know. And they crucified me for it in America. They made me seem like Satan.
She's sounding quasi-European.
The inflection of her voice has all changed, and she does come through with some Spanish notes.
Yeah, it's like English is a second language.
Was she spending time in Europe then? Because didn't she go and she basically bought all of Greece at one stage?
Allegedly. Yes, she says that she was learning Italian, maybe Arabic. She was learning like 3 languages at once, and it confused her.
So have you heard the theory about actors and accents? You know how this comes up a lot, right? It's come up with
Elvis.
Austin Butler. If you are seriously putting on an Elvis accent constantly, I mean, you're a dick, and it's embarrassing for you.
I didn't realize just how congested it gets here. And I also was just so impressed with, it was the Jurassic Park stuff was going on, so they had the giant dinosaurs.
5 years later.
I do want to address something. There's people out there who say that ever since I played Elvis, my voice has changed.
But what people will say is that it actually, especially if you're an actor, like changes your brain. And people can adopt these accents even if they've lived somewhere for a very short period of time. And I guess you're very impressionable if you're an actor.
I still think it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. But the question that I come to is, are we doing it on purpose?
Okay, in the interviews where Lindsay has her accent, it's always in non-English speaking interviews or where the people interviewing her have English as a second language. So it sounds like she's kind of trying to sound like she belongs with them.
Yeah, like we did in Italy when we were like, what's the word for water?
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't say ciao or anything. We just said, what's the word for? Constantly.
Very annoying and disrespectful. In 2019, Lindsay did say that her accent was due to her world travels. She was living in Dubai at the time. But then in her reality TV show, Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club, she sounded slightly British. So
that's because she'd been spending time in like Mykonos or something.
Yeah, so maybe you're right, but it is a little bit Ilaria.
It is, but I don't know if it's on purpose. I think that people just spend time in different places and start speaking differently.
We'll get to when she did a kidnap, and when she did the kidnap, the accent was particularly ridiculous. Jessie, her feuds with other celebrities. Lindsay Lohan has had several high-profile falling outs with friends. She fell out with Paris Hilton after she hung out with Hilton's ex-boyfriend, and in 2019 on Watch What Happens Live, which always comes up on this show.
Yeah.
Andy Cohen's getting all the gossip. Hilton was asked to say 3 nice things about Lindsay Lohan. She said,
"She's beyond lame and embarrassing."
Okay.
In 2018, Kim Kardashian posted a photo of her with a braided hairstyle, and she was getting all this flack because people were saying it was cultural appropriation. Lindsay Lohan commented, "I'm confused." And in response, Kim wrote back, "You know what's confusing? Your sudden foreign accent."
Oh.
Kim, it's a sore point.
The woman's Italian.
She just doesn't have good relationships with these people that she was friends with for a while. But one of the most well-known feuds is her falling out with Hilary Duff. And it's particularly bad because I think we're all on Hilary's side. In 2001, Hilary was 14, Lindsay was around 15, and the feud started because of pop star Aaron Carter, who unfortunately has passed away. Very, very sad. But he was also 14. Hilary met Aaron while filming Lizzie McGuire, and they started going out. What do 2 14-year-olds do when they're dating? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. The movies.
Oh, yeah, I think they go to the movies.
But was Herbie out yet?
I don't think so.
No, it wasn't out yet.
No.
Might have seen Parent Trap.
Yeah, great film. After a year of dating, Aaron dumps Hillary because he, and I quote, got a little bored.
A year is a long time. And 14-year-olds love him. Boring. Not a lot there.
Well, I just think maybe his standards were too high because it's like, how is she going to be a not boring 14-year-old?
Oh, how was like your 20s? Like it hasn't happened yet. Like we just haven't had enough happen.
No, she's a child. He moves on to Lindsay. So that's upset Hillary. He moves on to Lindsay Lohan, who apparently he finds a bit more interesting. But then he cheats on her within a few months. It's all very dramatic. For some reason, despite the fact that this is a love triangle between 3 literal children, there's tension between Hillary and Lindsay. A couple of years later, Hillary Duff turns up to the Freaky Friday premiere despite not being invited. So Lindsay gets back at her by turning up uninvited to the Chief by the Dozen premiere. This is the kind of petty behaviour I'm here for.
It's like Z-grade Australian reality stars that just show up to every premiere. It's like, I just don't reckon you even got an email.
No.
I reckon you showed up, went to the media wall, tried to get in, don't have a ticket.
So embarrassing. The rumour goes that at this stage, Lindsay couldn't stop bitching about Hillary. And I think she bitched about Hillary to Chad Michael Murray, which is cruel because of his faith.
Yeah.
And Hillary would have been offended. In 2004, Lindsay Lohan's 8-year-old brother Cody is at an event and he goes up to Hillary Duff's then boyfriend, Joel Madden from Good Charlotte.
Yes.
To ask for an autograph.
Okay.
So Lindsay Lohan's little brother
is like, hey, Joel Madden.
Hey, Joel Madden, can I have an autograph?
Yeah. Fair.
And Joel Madden is like, can I speak to your mum?
Not Dina.
And he confronts Dina Lohan and says, your daughter needs to apologise for all the shit she's been saying about Hillary to industry peers. Cody just wanted an autograph.
Cody just wanted an autograph from Good Charlotte like everyone else. Did you hear that apparently Lindsay spent a lot of time talking to Tina Fey and Amy Poehler on set about her beef with Hillary? And then Tina Fey came out and was like, look, I tried to follow, I'm not following. Like she tried to explain to me like 10 times. She was like, tell me what's going on with Hillary. Like just break it down. Why don't we like Hillary Duff? And Lindsay was like, this is Aaron Carter. And she was like, I just am not.
It's one of those stories where it's like, okay, I get why Hillary might not like Lindsay because she got dumped for Lindsay. I don't get why Lindsay doesn't like Hillary. Hillary doesn't appear to have done anything but show up to support her at a premiere for a great film.
Are they friends now? Oh, I think Hillary Duff comes across very well as an adult.
No, I think that's what's sad is that years down the track we go, who seems like they're were in the right?
Well. Yeah.
Who seems like they were in the right? Probably Hillary. But they're not best friends. And Hillary's like, oh, we were so young. It's just so silly. Well, no, we need more details, actually. Jesse, that is all we've got time for.
Okay, before we wrap up this episode, I'm
Okay.
talking about my movie.
Okay.
I Know Who Killed Me movie.
She's living inside a world she made up.
You let both of us die just to keep your secret?
You should be dead by now.
I know who killed me.
I know about it. It just wasn't relevant to any of the particular...
Oh, I just can't believe that this wasn't a dot point. This is actually probably the maddest I've ever been at you in regards to prep because this actually needed to be a dot point.
Okay, go.
It is widely considered one of the worst films ever made. Did you know that?
No. She was traumatized apparently because it's scary. She said that the first time she went to therapy/rehab was not about drugs or alcohol, but because that film was scary.
No, that's not correct. Because when she was filming I Know Who Killed Me, she was actually in and out of rehab for addiction issues.
Well, no, she says it wasn't for addiction issues.
Okay, well, it has 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Okay? The trailer, absolutely fantastic. I suggest everyone watch it.
She knew how to turn her life into a movie and watch things happen. Not to her, but to a girl who looked just like her. How would she ever find her other half?
Do you know that this is about a set of twins, both played by Lindsay Lohan?
Okay.
I'm going to read you some reviews and then I'm going to read you the synopsis. Okay. There was one that was written in Spanish and I was like, I desperately want to know what this says. I translated it. It just said crap, bad movie. It's like, meh, wasn't worth the translation. No one, I repeat, no one should see this movie. Separate one. This is the worst movie I've ever watched, but it was such a train wreck I couldn't look away. The plot had such massive holes and the characters so terribly developed, I'm truly shocked it was ever produced. Don't become me and waste brain cells on this movie. And someone else said, after only a few minutes, I wished someone I knew would come and kill me. Okay. So I went, plot holes? Surely not.
Okay, we've got plot holes.
Aubrey goes missing.
Yeah.
All
Wait,
right.
who's Aubrey?
The character, played by Lohan.
Okay.
Aubrey goes missing, only to be rediscovered later, right? So we've seen this before. The difference is she has been so mutilated by someone that one leg and one arm need to be amputated.
Okay.
This is like a review I read, right? It said the plot is riddled with inconsistencies, leaps in logics, insane developments. This review goes on. Dakota, meanwhile, is actually Aubrey's secret twin, a detail that is never fully logistically explained and feels oddly reminiscent of Lohan's previous stint in The Parent Trap. Oh, and by the way, Dakota suffered the same mutilation as Aubrey because the two share a psychic link wherein each of them suffers the injuries inflicted upon the other. So for no reason, Dakota also doesn't have an arm or a leg.
Sorry, that's it. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. That sounds really good.
And as you say, she won 2 awards.
I like that she tied with herself.
For the absolute worst.
Darling, okay, that is actually all we have time for on today's episode about Lindsay Lohan.
I also have in my notes, Masked Singer Australia must have been a low point. That's kind of all I've got with that one.
Thanks for your input. I really appreciate it. Please join us for part 2 because part 2 we are discussing how she kind of misses the mood a lot with just weighing in.
Commentary.
Not the vibe. We discuss when she did try to kidnap a child on a street in Moscow and the accent came out. Her being rogue on social media, it's actually laugh out loud. I just can't get over her being rogue on Twitter. Sometimes she thinks Twitter's Facebook. It's a lot. And her recent Netflix movie with just a surprise special mention at the end of that episode. So thank you so much for joining us.
For all the evidence that we have mentioned in this episode, head over to _thoughts on Instagram, or you can find us at Cancelled Podcast on TikTok. And to win your very own limited edition Lazy Girl stickers, head over to _thoughts on Instagram and share with us your favourite celebrity Lazy Girl story. Infamous, we've talked about it, Mariah Carey getting halfway through a New Year's Eve performance and going, nah, I don't want to do it.
And going,
and everyone else gets a holiday.
She yells, you're on holiday, why don't I get to be on holiday? Because you're being paid a lot of money.
Classic Mariah.
To perform, and you probably had a holiday at another point in the year.
Exactly. That is actually really hard when your holidays are at different points. So if you could send us your favourite celebrity Lazy Girl stories.
The best ones.
And you know what? I'm going to broaden it.
Okay.
Lazy boy.
Oh,
Lazy girl and boy. We don't discriminate.
No, we don't.
Either one. We would love you to send them through and we will share our favourites. The executive producer is Talissa Bazaz with audio editing by Tom Lyon, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
If you have loved listening today, become part of the community that makes you feel seen, heard and understood like never before. Subscribe to Mamamia. There's a link in the show notes.